My best friend cried on my bed about her mom's cancer while handing me the project worth 70% of her grade, then blocked me the moment I emailed it in. When I finally got proof, she lied. She texted, "Don't do this to me." I didn't say a word. That was 6 weeks ago. Yesterday, she forgot what her own essay meant and started crying in front of the scholarship committee. I didn't have many friends in high school, and by not many, I mean none. I was sitting in the canteen playing Clash of Clans Mobile when Leah came up to me. She was the human version of a dandelion. Bright smile, flat stomach, perfectly manicured nails. "Hey, what are you playing?" Just a game that I like." I was scared of her judging me until she took out her phone and showed me her base. She was the first person that I'd talked to all year, and I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it never did. Leah had so many friends, but never took more than 2 hours to text me back. She wasn't ashamed of me, and any photos she took of us together always went on her Instagram story with a "You Get Me So High" song in it. So when she texted asking for help with her homework answers, I spent twice as long on my worksheet to make sure that they were right before I sent them, because I might be ugly, chubby, with no riz, but I was blessed with one thing, and that was my intelligence. I had a 4.2 GPA and never found school that hard, but I knew other people did. So sometimes after a test, I'd say I definitely failed, even when I knew I got all the answers right just to seem relatable. So when I sent Leah the answers and she got an A, she practically fell in love with me, LOL. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," she exclaimed before wrapping her arms around me. "Do you want me to tutor you? I'm pretty good." "Yes, you are the freaking best." From there, all our hangouts became study sessions, and her GPA went from a 2.4 to 3.7, except it wasn't because she was getting better. You see, Leah was gifted in every area but focus or work ethic. She swore she has undiagnosed ADH and TBH. I believed it. She couldn't sit still without tapping her leg, is the definition of the YAP-atron 5000, and anytime she got a phone notification while trying to study, her brain would completely switch off. The girl was incapable of doing anything without zoning out, but she was my best friend at the time, so I wanted us to go to the same college and be friends for life. So I did what any girl's girl would do in that situation. I started doing her assignments for her. Nothing crazy. Just an algebra function here, an English essay question there. It wasn't until one day when Leah called me in tears that I had to up my game. "Can I come over?" she asked, voice shaking. I immediately said yes. So there we were, sitting on my silk bed sheets when she broke the news. My mom has stage 3 cancer. As soon as I caught sight of the tears pooling in her eyes, I started crying too. The room was silent for a while. When the tears subsided, I took my phone out and started playing Skibidi Toilet on YouTube to lighten the mood. This actually worked, and soon we were both laughing so hard our ribs started hurting. I should have known no one goes from crying to laughing that quickly. That's when she took out her book bag and started working on her project. It was the one that counted towards 70% of our final English grade, her worst subject. "Leah, I can do your project for you," I offered. Immediately, her entire face lit up like I'd never seen before. "Really?" She said it like it was a question, but she was already handing her project over to me. For the next few weeks, I was completely swamped. Between my workload, Leah's project, and Leah's other assignments, I barely had time to go to the bathroom and take a shot without worrying about school. But even through hospital visits and taking care of her mom, Leah was supportive. Every night, she ordered me my favorite on DoorDash, Wingstop with a bottle of Simply Lemonade. I didn't see her much though, but I just figured she wanted some alone time. Fair enough. Fast forward to the day when it was time to present our projects. It was the first time Leah had come into school in weeks. No one but me knew about her mom, and rumors were spreading that she was in Turkey getting implants. But I knew the truth, or so I thought. When she came in, I expected to see a girl barely hanging on by a thread. Messy hair, smudged mascara, puffy eyes, but Leah looked better than ever. And I never looked at her butt before, but I could hear everyone whispering about how it definitely looked bigger. When we locked eyes, I mouthed to her that I had emailed over her presentation, and she did the heart shape with her hands. And since it was high school, and people always gossip about something, I figured Leah had told me the truth until school ended. Because right there was her mom with freshly dyed platinum blonde long hair, obviously new lip filler, extremely glowy skin. "Surprise! I came to pick you up," she announced from the driver's seat of her car. I slowly turned to Leah, who was chewing her fingernails. She knew there was no talking her way out of it, so she got in the car without saying a word, and her mom drove off. When I checked my phone, I saw Leah had blocked me on everything. That's when the realization hit me. Her mom never had cancer. Our entire friendship had been a ploy for her academics. Leah wasn't some friendly, misunderstood, clueless girl. She was a dumb HE, and dumb HEs have to learn their lesson. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. If Leah thought she could use me and get away with it, she had another thing coming. I grabbed my laptop and started documenting everything. Every assignment I'd done for her, every text she'd sent asking for help, every Wingstop receipt I'd saved as a memento of our friendship. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I organized everything into folders. That's when I noticed something strange. The English project I'd spent weeks perfecting for Leah wasn't just submitted to our teacher. According to the school's online portal, it had also been entered into the Henderson Academic Excellence Award competition. My stomach dropped. That scholarship was worth $10,000, and I'd been counting on winning it to help pay for college. Now Leah's name was on my work, competing for my scholarship. I threw on yesterday's clothes and rushed to school early. Mrs. Peterson, our guidance counselor, was always in her office by 7 a.m. She'd help me sort this out. But when I burst through her door, breathless and panicked, she barely looked up from her computer. "Slow down," she said, adjusting her glasses. "What's this about?" I explained everything. The fake cancer story, the months of doing Leah's work, the scholarship theft. Mrs. Peterson's expression grew more skeptical with each word. "That's quite an accusation," she finally said. "But Leah's improvement this semester has been remarkable. She's shown real dedication, especially considering her difficult family circumstances." "But her mom doesn't have cancer," I practically shouted. "I saw her yesterday picking Leah up. She looked perfectly healthy." Mrs. Peterson's face hardened. "Perhaps you misunderstood the situation. Regardless, without proof, these are just allegations. I suggest you focus on your own work instead of trying to tear down a classmate who's finally succeeding." I left her office feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. By lunch, the whole school knew a twisted version of the story. According to the rumor mill, I'd been obsessed with Leah, got rejected when I confessed my feelings, and now I was trying to sabotage her out of jealousy. People whispered when I walked by. Someone even bumped into me hard enough to send my books flying. The next day, I found my locker covered in permanent marker. "Desperate Loser" was scrawled across the metal in thick black letters. My hands shook as I tried to wipe it off, but it wouldn't budge. The janitor said he'd need special chemicals to remove it, but that would take days. I needed evidence. Real, undeniable proof. Then I remembered. I'd kept all my rough drafts in Google Docs with timestamps showing when I'd created and edited them. If I could show the scholarship committee that I'd written the project, they'd have to believe me. But when I logged into my account during computer class, my heart sank. Everything was gone. Every draft, every revision, every timestamp deleted. Somehow, Leah had gotten into my account and wiped it clean. "You okay?" Tyler whispered from the computer next to mine. We'd been in computer club together since freshman year, but we'd never really talked outside of meetings. I shook my head, unable to speak without crying. Tyler glanced at our teacher, who was helping another student, then rolled his chair closer. "What happened to your files?" he asked, looking at my empty Google Drive. I told him everything in hushed whispers. Unlike Mrs. Peterson, Tyler actually listened. When I finished, he cracked his knuckles and turned to his computer. "Lucky for you, Google keeps cached versions of deleted files for 30 days, he said, fingers flying across the keyboard. "If we can access the cache before it's permanently deleted." Within minutes, Tyler had recovered covered everything. The timestamps clearly showed I'd been working on the project for weeks before Leah ever submitted it. I could have hugged him. Save everything to a flash drive, Tyler advised, and email copies to yourself at a different address. Don't let her delete the evidence again. Armed with proof, I felt confident enough to confront Leah after school. But before I could find her mom's Range Rover screeched into the parking lot. Leah's mom jumped out, marching straight toward me with fury in her eyes. "How dare you harass my daughter during her cancer treatment?" she screamed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Haven't we been through enough?" Students pulled out their phones, recording the confrontation. I stood frozen, shocked by the performance. Leah appeared behind her mom, tears streaming down her face. For a moment, I almost believed them. Maybe there was some explanation. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Then I noticed the bar-asked cancer awareness ribbon sticker on the Range Rover's bumper. It was brand new, still had air bubbles trapped underneath. Who puts a cancer awareness sticker on their car after treatment? "I'm not harassing anyone," I managed to say. "I just want my work back." "Your work?" Leah's mom laughed bitterly. "My daughter has worked harder than ever this semester, and you're trying to steal credit because you're jealous. I'll be filing a complaint with the principal about this bullying." They drove off, leaving me standing in the parking lot surrounded by judging stares. But something Tyler had said earlier stuck with me. If Leah was lying about the cancer, what else was she lying about? That night, I did something I'd never done before. I stalked Leah's Instagram. Not just her main feed, but her tagged photos, her friends' accounts, everything. And that's when I found it. During the weeks when Leah was supposedly at the hospital with her mom, her friend had posted photos from Miami. And there was Leah, tanning on the beach, holding a mojito, looking very much not like someone dealing with a family cancer crisis. I screenshotted everything, checking the location tags to confirm. Every hospital day matched up with a Miami post. The evidence was piling up, but I needed more. The next morning, Principal Brooks called me into his office. My parents were already there, looking concerned. Leah had filed an official complaint, claiming I'd threatened her. "This is a serious accusation," Mr. Brooks said, sliding a paper across his desk. It was Leah's written statement describing threatening messages I'd supposedly sent and confrontations that never happened. As my parents read the statement, looking increasingly worried, I noticed something odd. Leah had written color instead of color, and realize instead of realize, British spellings. But Leah had lived in America her whole life, just like me. "I've never threatened Leah," I said, "and I can prove she's lying about everything else too." I pulled out my phone and showed them the Miami photos, the timestamps on my recovered documents, everything. But Mr. Brooks seemed unmoved. "Social media posts can be misleading," he said, "and those documents could have been created after the fact." My mom, who'd been quiet until now, suddenly spoke up. "Wait, did Leah write the statement herself?" Mr. Brooks nodded. "Then why is she using British spellings?" my mom asked. "My daughter has never spelled color with a U in her life. I remember helping her study for spelling tests in elementary school." She was right. I'd always been meticulous about using American spellings, and I'd written Leah's entire project. If Leah had actually written it herself, she would have used British spellings like in her complaint. Mr. Brooks frowned, comparing the complaint to a printed copy of Leah's project submission. The spellings were different. American in the project, British in the complaint. "I'll need to look into this further," he said slowly. Word spread quickly about the investigation. Leah's friend group started excluding other smart kids from their study groups, claiming they were all cheaters like me. The divide in the school was growing, but I kept finding more evidence. One day, while eating lunch alone, I noticed a Wingstop bag in the trash. Out of curiosity, I grabbed the receipt. It was from one of the days Leah had ordered food for me, paid with her mom's credit card. The date matched a supposed chemo day. Would someone undergoing cancer treatment really be ordering takeout? I started collecting every receipt I could find, building a timeline. The credit card statements would show Leah's mom was buying Wingstop and shopping at Nordstrom when she was supposedly getting chemo. Ms. Sappy, our English teacher, called me aside after class one day. "I've been reviewing Leah's recent work," she said quietly. "The vocabulary and sentence structure in her project don't match anything she's written in class. Even her in-class essays use completely different words." She couldn't officially accuse Leah of cheating, but her observation added to my growing pile of evidence. More teachers started noticing discrepancies. Leah's other subjects showed no improvement, just English, the one class where I'd done all her work. The pressure was getting to Leah. She started making mistakes, claiming she couldn't write because of carpal tunnel syndrome when asked to provide a handwriting sample. But the school nurse confirmed there was no medical documentation for any such condition. Finally, the scholarship committee announced they would require both finalists to present their projects live. They wanted to see if we could explain our work and answer questions about our methodology. That night, my phone buzzed with texts from an unknown number. It was Leah. "Please help me. I'll split the money with you. 50-50, I promise. I need this scholarship. Don't do this to me." I screenshotted every message but didn't respond. She'd made her choice when she'd stolen my work and tried to ruin my reputation. The day of the presentation arrived. I went first, explaining every aspect of the project I'd spent weeks perfecting. The committee asked detailed questions about my literary references, my analysis methodology, and my conclusions. I answered everything confidently because it was my work. Then it was Leah's turn. She walked to the front of the room, hands shaking. From the first sentence, it was clear she had no idea what she was talking about. She stumbled over basic concepts, mispronounced author names, and couldn't explain the theoretical framework I'd used. "Can you elaborate on your reference to Faulkner's stream of consciousness technique?" one committee member asked. Leah's face went blank. Well, it's like when the character streams their consciousness." The committee exchanged glances. Another member asked about a specific metaphor I'd crafted. Leah couldn't even remember what it meant. Just as the presentation was falling apart, the door burst open. Leah's mom stormed in, designer heels clicking on the floor. "Stop this immediately," she demanded. "You're traumatizing my daughter. She's been through enough with my cancer treatment." The committee head, an elderly woman with silver hair, stood up slowly. "Ma'am, we've already verified with the local hospitals. There's no record of you receiving any cancer treatment." The room went silent. Leah's mom's face turned red, then white. Leah herself started crying, real tears this time. That's a violation of privacy," her mom sputtered. "Perhaps," the committee head said calmly, "but lying about cancer to manipulate others is a violation of basic human decency." Everything came crashing down at once. Leah broke completely, admitting through sobs that everything had been fake. The friendship, the cancer story, all of it had been a plan to use me for grades. "I needed my GPA up for college," she wailed. "It wasn't supposed to go this far. The scholarship went to me, as it should have from the beginning." Leah faced academic probation and lost her acceptance to her dream college when they found out about the plagiarism. Her mom tried to threaten legal action, but it fizzled out when lawyers explained that fraud and theft of intellectual property were actual crimes. Tyler helped me set up a legitimate tutoring business with real contracts and payment systems. No more doing work for free. No more fake friends taking advantage. I learned to value my abilities and charge what they were worth. Leah transferred schools mid-semester. The last I heard, she was struggling to keep her grades up without someone doing her work. Her mom's Range Rover appeared in the school parking lot one final time to collect her things. Someone had let the air out of all 4 tires, arranging them to spell out KARMA when viewed from above. The security cameras mysteriously malfunctioned that day, so no one could prove who did it. But I had my suspicions. Tyler had been grinning all morning, and he'd mentioned something about learning tire pressure systems in his automotive class. When I raised an eyebrow at him, he just shrugged and said, "Karma works in mysterious ways." I used the scholarship money for college and started my freshman year with a new understanding of friendship and trust. Real friends don't need you to do their work. They support you, encourage you, and stand by you when others try to tear you down. Tyler and I kept in touch, and he became one of my closest friends, a real one this time. Looking back at that Wingstop-fueled semester of doing someone else's homework, I can't believe how naive I was. But I learned that intelligence isn't just about grades or test scores. It's about recognizing your worth, standing up for yourself, and knowing when someone is taking advantage of your kindness. And if you're reading this, Leah, I hope you finally learn to do your own work. Though considering you couldn't even fake cancer without getting caught, I somehow doubt it. The scholarship money hit my bank account 3 weeks later. $10,000 felt like a fortune, but I knew I had to be smart about it. Tyler and I spent hours planning the tutoring business, creating contracts that protected both me and my future clients. We set up a simple website, established clear payment terms, and even designed a logo. Everything was legitimate this time. My first real client was Catherine, a sophomore struggling with chemistry. She paid up front, attended every session, and actually took notes. When she improved from a D to a B+, she wrote me a glowing review. Word spread quickly about my tutoring services, but this time it was different. People respected what I was doing. One afternoon, while helping Catherine with molecular structures, my phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. My blood ran cold when I saw it was from Leah's new school account. The post showed a photo of me from freshman year, badly edited to look like I was cheating on a test. The caption read, "Some people pretend to be smart but are actually frauds. Know anyone like this?" The comments were already piling up. People from my school defended me, but students from Leah's new school believed her lies. I screenshotted everything and blocked the account, but the damage was spreading. More fake accounts popped up, each spreading different versions of the same lie. One claimed I'd hacked into the school system to change my grades. Another said I'd been selling test answers since middle school. Tyler found me in the library, my laptop surrounded by printed screenshots. "She's not giving up," he said, looking at the evidence. "She already lost everything," I said, frustrated. "Why is she still coming after me?" "Because you won," Tyler replied simply, "and people like Leah can't handle losing." The harassment escalated. Fake tutoring reviews appeared online, claiming I'd stolen money or provided wrong answers on purpose. My business email got flooded with spam. Someone even created a website with my name in the URL, filled with fabricated stories about my supposed cheating empire. I reported everything to the platforms, but new accounts appeared faster than the old ones could be removed. My tutoring inquiries dropped to zero. Parents who'd been interested suddenly stopped responding to my emails. Catherine's mom called to say they'd be finding a new tutor, though Catherine herself texted me privately to say she didn't believe the rumors. The situation reached a breaking point when someone posted my home address online. My parents found out about everything when strangers started calling our landline, asking if the cheater was home. My mom was furious, but not at me. "This is harassment," she said, pacing our living room. "We need to document everything." My dad, usually the calm one, looked ready to drive to Leah's new school himself. "This has gone too far. She's targeting our family now." We spent the weekend organizing evidence. Every fake post, every harassing message, every false review. Tyler helped us trace some of the accounts back to IP addresses, though we couldn't definitively prove they were Leah's. The pattern was clear though. All the posts appeared during school hours at her new school, and they stopped during her scheduled classes. On Monday, I walked into school to find a small group of students waiting by my locker. My stomach clenched, preparing for another confrontation. But instead of hostility, I saw concern on their faces. "We know what Leah's doing," Catherine said, stepping forward, "and we want to help." It turned out that Leah's campaign had backfired in ways she hadn't expected. Students who'd initially believed her lies started noticing inconsistencies. The stories kept changing. First I was a grade hacker, then a test thief, then somehow simultaneously failing all my classes while selling perfect essays. None of it added up. Nathan, a junior from my AP history class, had done some digging. "I found posts from Leah's old Instagram before she deleted it," he said, showing me his phone. "Look at the dates on these Miami photos." He'd found even more evidence of her spring break trip during the supposed cancer treatment. But more importantly, he'd found posts where Leah bragged about gaming the system and working smarter, not harder, with winky face emojis. The timestamps matched when I'd been doing her assignments. "We're starting a counter campaign," Catherine announced. "Truth over lies. We're going to flood social media with the real story." I wanted to tell them not to bother, that it wasn't worth it. But seeing my classmates rally around me, people I'd barely talked to before this mess, made me realize something. Leah had tried to isolate me again, but instead, she'd given me something I'd never had, a real community. The Truth Over Lies campaign started small. Students shared their own stories about academic integrity, about the pressure to cheat, about choosing honesty even when it was harder. They didn't attack Leah directly, which made the message even more powerful. The hashtag started trending at our school, and spread to neighboring districts. Tyler created a simple website that laid out the facts without emotion or accusation, just timestamps, screenshots, and verifiable information. He made sure everything was legally sound, nothing that could be considered doxing or harassment, just truth. The principal called an assembly about cyberbullying and academic integrity. Mr. Brooks didn't mention names, but everyone knew what had prompted it. He talked about the serious consequences of online harassment and the importance of ethical behavior both online and offline. "We've seen an increase in cyber harassment cases," he said, looking directly at the section where Leah's former friend group sat. "Let me be clear, there will be consequences for anyone engaging in this behavior, regardless of which school they currently attend." After the assembly, Mrs. Peterson found me in the hallway. She looked uncomfortable, fidgeting with her cardigan buttons. "I owe you an apology," she said quietly. "I should have listened when you came to me. I failed in my duty as a counselor. I didn't know what to say." Part of me wanted to be angry, to point out how her dismissal had enabled everything that followed, but I could see the genuine regret in her eyes. "I've been reviewing Leah's records," she continued. "There were signs I missed. Sudden grade improvements without corresponding test scores, essays that didn't match her in-class writing samples. I should have investigated. What happens now?" I asked. "I've contacted her new school's administration. They're aware of the situation." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "They're taking it very seriously." The fake accounts suddenly went silent. The harassing messages stopped. The fake reviews disappeared as platforms investigated and removed them. It seemed Leah's new school had intervened, but the damage to my tutoring business was done. Even with the Truth Over Lies campaign, parents were hesitant. Trust, once broken, was hard to rebuild. I had the scholarship money, but my dream of building a legitimate tutoring business felt crushed. That's when Ms. Sappy approached me with an unexpected proposal. "The English department is starting a peer tutoring program," she said. "Official, through the school, with teacher supervision. We need someone to lead it." It wasn't the independent business I'd envisioned, but it was something better, a chance to help students while being protected by institutional support. No one could question the legitimacy of a school-sponsored program. Tyler helped me redesign everything for the official program. We created intake forms, progress tracking sheets, and a matching system that paired tutors with students based on specific needs. The school provided the space and the oversight. I provided the experience and the organizational skills. Our first session had 5 tutors and 12 students seeking help. By the third week, we had 15 tutors and nearly 40 students. The program was working, and more importantly, it was helping kids who actually wanted to learn. One day, while organizing session schedules, I noticed a familiar name on an intake form: Jonathan, from Leah's new school, seeking help with college application essays. His note explained that he'd heard about our program through social media and was willing to commute for quality help. During our first session, Jonathan revealed why he'd really come. "I know Leah," he said quietly. "She's in my grade. What she did to you, it's not the first time." My hands stilled on my keyboard. board. What do you mean? She tried the same thing with another girl at our school, pretended to be friends, got her to do homework, then turned on her when she got caught. He pulled out his phone, showing me screenshots from a group chat. But this time, people knew her game. The girl she targeted had saved everything from day one. The messages showed Leah trying to orchestrate the same scheme, but her new target had been warned. Students who'd transferred from our school had spread the word about what Leah had done to me. Her reputation had preceded her. She's failing most of her classes now, Jonathan continued. No one will study with her. No one trusts her. She keeps trying to find new targets, but word spreads fast. I felt a mix of vindication and pity. Leah had created her own prison, one built from lies and manipulation. Every school she transferred to, the story would follow. In trying to destroy my reputation, she'd permanently damaged her own. The tutoring program continued to grow. We expanded beyond English to include math, science, and history. The school board took notice, and there was talk of implementing similar programs district-wide. What had started as Leah's attempt to steal my work had transformed into something that helped hundreds of students. Tyler became the program's technical coordinator, creating an app that matched tutors with students more efficiently. Catherine recruited new tutors from the Honor Society. Nathan managed our social media presence, sharing success stories and study tips. The community that had formed to defend me against Leah's lies had evolved into something meaningful and lasting. One afternoon, while reviewing program statistics for a school board presentation, I received an unexpected email. It was from Leah's mom, sent from what appeared to be a new email address. I know you have no reason to read this, it began, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. I enabled my daughter's behavior. I taught her that shortcuts were acceptable, that image mattered more than integrity. When she told me about the cancer lie, I should have stopped it immediately. Instead, I participated. I failed as a parent, and I failed you as an adult who should have known better. Leah is getting help now, real help. Not for college applications or appearances, but because she needs it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that we're trying to do better. I read the email 3 times, unsure how to feel. Tyler, reading over my shoulder, whistled low. That's unexpected. Do you think it's real? I asked. Does it matter? Tyler responded. You've moved on. You're helping people. What Leah and her mom do now is their journey, not yours. He was right. I archived the email without responding. Some bridges, once burned, didn't need rebuilding. The best response was to continue doing what I'd been doing, helping students legitimately, building something positive from a negative experience. The school board approved the district-wide expansion of our tutoring program. They offered me a paid position as student coordinator, working with administrators to implement the program in other schools. It wasn't just a job, it was validation that my work had value beyond grades or test scores. During the implementation meetings, I met other students who'd had similar experiences. Stories of friendship exploitation, academic manipulation, and social sabotage were more common than I'd realized. Our program became not just about tutoring, but about creating ethical academic environments where students could help each other without fear of exploitation. 6 months after everything had started, I stood in front of a district-wide assembly, presenting our program's success metrics. Hundreds of students had improved their grades through legitimate tutoring. Dozens of tutors had gained valuable teaching experience and service hours. The program had created a culture shift, making it cool to help others succeed rather than tear them down. As I spoke, I thought about how different my life might have been if I'd never met Leah. I might still be friendless, playing Clash of Clans alone in the cafeteria. I might never have discovered my talent for teaching or found my real community. In trying to use me, Leah had inadvertently pushed me to become someone stronger, someone who knew their worth. The presentation ended to genuine applause. Teachers, administrators, and students approached me afterward with questions and congratulations. Among them was a freshman girl, nervous and clutching her notebook. I'm having trouble with algebra, she said quietly, and some kids said I should just get someone else to do it for me. But I want to actually learn. Can your program help? I smiled, remembering my own freshman self, desperate for connection and validation. Absolutely. Learning it yourself is always better than taking shortcuts. Let me introduce you to our math tutoring coordinator. As I walked her over to our math section, I caught a glimpse of someone familiar through the window. Leah stood outside, wearing a uniform from a local fast food restaurant. Our eyes met for a moment. She looked tired, older somehow, though only months had passed. She raised her hand as if to wave, then thought better of it and walked away. I turned back to the freshman, focusing on what mattered. The past was the past. The future was built on choices made in the present, and I chose to help those who genuinely wanted to learn, to build communities based on trust and mutual support, to value integrity over shortcuts. The tutoring program thrived. My college applications showcased not just my grades, but my leadership in creating meaningful change. Universities were interested in students who could identify problems and create solutions, who could turn negative experiences into positive outcomes. Tyler got accepted early to MIT, his technical skills and program development experience setting him apart. Catherine earned a full scholarship to study education. Nathan's communications work with our program landed him internships with social media companies interested in positive online campaigns. We'd all grown from that terrible experience with Leah. What had started as exploitation and betrayal had transformed into opportunity and community. The students we tutored went on to help others. The program we built became a model for ethical academic support. On my last day of high school, cleaning out my locker, I found an old Wingstop receipt tucked behind my textbooks, one of the many Leah had ordered during her fake cancer scheme. I stared at it for a moment, remembering how grateful I'd felt for her friendship, how willing I'd been to do anything to maintain it. Tyler appeared beside me carrying a box of his computer equipment. Souvenir? He asked, noticing the receipt. More like a reminder, I said, crumpling it up, of what not to accept in a friendship, and what to build instead, he added, gesturing toward the tutoring center we'd created, bustling with students helping students. I threw the receipt in the recycling bin and closed my locker for the last time. The girl who'd sat alone in the cafeteria, desperate for any friendship, was gone. In her place stood someone who understood that real connections were built on mutual respect, that helping others meant empowering them to succeed on their own, that integrity was worth more than shortcuts. The Leah chapter of my life was closed, but the lessons it taught continued to shape my future. Every student I helped learn to trust their own abilities, every tutor I trained to support without enabling, every program I developed that promoted ethical academic support, they all stemmed from that painful experience of being used. The summer after graduation brought unexpected challenges. I'd accepted a position at a state university 2 hours away, excited to start fresh where nobody knew about the Leah drama. Tyler was heading to MIT in the fall. Catherine had her education scholarship lined up, and Nathan was already working remotely for a startup. We'd made plans to keep the tutoring program running with new student leaders. 3 days before I was supposed to leave for orientation, my phone rang at 2 a.m. The number wasn't saved, but something made me answer. Is this the girl who runs the tutoring program? The voice was young, scared. I sat up in bed. Who is this? My name's Sarah. I go to Westfield High, where Leah transferred. She's doing it again. My blood ran cold. I grabbed my laptop and opened a video call with Tyler, who was somehow still awake coding. Sarah's story spilled out in fragments. Leah had befriended her, claimed her grandmother was dying, convinced Sarah to write her college essays. When Sarah tried to back out, Leah threatened to tell everyone Sarah was selling essays for money. She has screenshots of fake conversations, Sarah sobbed. She edited them to make it look like I was running an essay mill. My parents don't believe me. The principal thinks I'm lying. Tyler was already pulling up social media, finding the posts. Leah had learned from her mistakes. This time she'd been more careful, more calculated. The fake evidence looked convincing. Send me everything, I told Sarah. Every text, every email, every assignment you did for her. Over the next 48 hours, Tyler, Catherine, Nathan, and I worked around the clock. We created a comprehensive timeline showing how Leah's tactics had evolved, but followed the same pattern. Tyler found metadata proving the screenshots were doctored. Catherine reached out to other students at Westfield who'd noticed red flags about Leah, but Leah had anticipated this. She'd already filed a restraining order against me, claiming I was stalking and harassing her across schools. My parents received legal documents the next morning. If I contacted anyone at Westfield about Leah, I could face criminal charges. She's trying to silence you, my mom said, reading through the papers. She knows you're the only one who can expose her pattern. The restraining order was bullshit, but fighting it would take time and money. Meanwhile, Sarah was facing expulsion. Her college acceptance was in jeopardy, just like Leah had tried to do to me. Tyler had an idea. We can't contact Westfield directly, but what if we expand the tutoring program there? Train their students to recognize academic manipulation. It was brilliant. We couldn't name Leah specifically, but we could educate students about the warning signs. Catherine created workshop materials about ethical tutoring relationships. Nathan designed social media campaigns about academic integrity that just happened to describe situations exactly like what Leah did. The Westfield principal initially refused our program, but Sarah's parents and several other families pressured the school board. They wanted safeguards against academic exploitation. Within a week, we had approval to launch a pilot program. I couldn't go myself because of the restraining order, but Catherine and Nathan ran the first session. 40 students showed up. As they discussed hypothetical scenarios that matched Leah's tactics perfectly, students started connecting dots. 3 more victims came forward. Leah panicked. She tried to transfer schools again, but word had spread through our network. Every school in the district now had our tutoring program materials. They knew what to watch for. Her mom showed up at my house one evening, mascara streaking down her face. My parents almost didn't let her in, but I was curious. You've ruined her life, she accused, standing in our foyer. She can't go anywhere without people knowing. She's had to get therapy, take medication. Are you happy now? I thought about Sarah, about the other victims, about everyone Leah had hurt. Your daughter needs help, not new victims. Maybe therapy is exactly what she needs. She's just a child, her mom wailed. She made mistakes. She's 18, I replied calmly. Old enough to know that fraud and extortion are crimes, not mistakes. Her mom's face twisted. I'll destroy you. I'll make sure no college will take you. I have connections. My dad stepped forward. Ma'am, you need to leave. And if you threaten my daughter again, we'll be filing our own restraining order. She stormed out, but not before throwing a final barb. Leah was right about you. You're nothing but a jealous, vindictive little. The door closed on her words. My parents and I stood in silence for a moment. You okay? My mom asked. I nodded. I was more than okay. I'd stood up to a bully and her enabler without flinching. The next few weeks were intense. Leah's mom tried to follow through on her threats, contacting my future university with accusations. But the school had already reviewed my application thoroughly. They'd seen my work with the tutoring program, the letters of recommendation from teachers and administrators, the documented evidence of what I'd overcome. The admissions officer actually called me personally. We've received some concerning communications about you, she said carefully. But frankly, they've only reinforced why we accepted you. Your ability to maintain integrity under pressure is exactly what we value. Meanwhile, the Westfield situation exploded. The 3 new victims had saved everything. Unlike me, they'd been warned to document from day one. The evidence was overwhelming. Leah faced academic fraud charges from multiple students. Sarah called me crying again, but this time with relief. The school cleared my record. My college acceptance is safe. Thank you. Thank Tyler, Catherine, and Nathan too, I said. We're a team. The tutoring program expansion accelerated. School boards from neighboring counties reached out, wanting to implement our model. We created a nonprofit organization to manage the growth. Tyler built a secure platform for students to report academic exploitation anonymously. Catherine developed training modules for peer tutors. Nathan managed partnerships with schools and communities. 2 weeks before leaving for college, we held a final meeting to transition leadership. The high school cafeteria was packed with tutors, students, parents, and administrators. As I looked out at the crowd, I spotted a familiar face in the back. Leah stood by the door, shoulders hunched, wearing oversized sunglasses indoors. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. When our eyes met, she quickly looked away but didn't leave. I continued my presentation, explaining how the new student leaders would maintain program standards. Tyler demonstrated the reporting platform. Catherine walked through tutor training requirements. Nathan shared success metrics from our first year. This program exists because someone tried to exploit academic trust, I concluded. But instead of letting that betrayal define us, we built something better. We created a community where students help each other succeed honestly. The applause was thunderous. People approached with questions, congratulations, and stories of how the program had helped them. Through it all, Leah remained by the door, watching. As the crowd thinned, she finally approached. Tyler tensed beside me, but I put a hand on his arm. I won't stay long, Leah said quietly. I wanted you to know that I'm getting help. Real help. Not for college or appearances, but because I need it. I studied her face, looking for the manipulation I'd learned to recognize, but all I saw was exhaustion, and something that might have been genuine remorse. I'm glad you're getting help, I said simply. She nodded, fidgeting with her phone. I've been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. My therapist says it stems from how my mom raised me, always pushing me to be perfect, to win at any cost. It's not an excuse, just an explanation. What happens now? I asked. I'm taking a gap year, working retail, paying for my own therapy. My mom cut me off when I refused to fight the fraud charges. She attempted a bitter smile. Turns out she only loved the successful version of me. Despite everything, I felt a twinge of sympathy. That must be hard. It is, but it's also freeing. For the first time, I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. I'm just a failure working at Target, going to therapy twice a week, trying to figure out who I actually am. She turned to leave, then paused. I know I have no right to ask, but could you tell Sarah and the others that I'm sorry, that I'm trying to do better? Tell them yourself, I suggested. Write letters, take accountability. That's part of doing better. Leah nodded slowly. You're right. You always were smarter than me, in every way that mattered. She left without another word.